Okay, bye. Okay, we're ending there.
Ah, no!
Nope. Haven, don't fucking tell me that you did it again.
It was a different one this time.
What do you mean it was a different
What do you
one?
mean? What do I mean? There's 7 of them!
Hi, everybody! Welcome back to the Figment of NUZLOCKE. My name is Danny Blue Driver.
Oh my...
This is Havenadian.
God, I just came back from dropping more dice again. I kid you not, this isn't even a bit.
No, there wasn't even like a pause between parts. Like, this is literally just what happened. Like, this is... Haven.
Hey.
I worry for your safety.
Hey,
I hope you understand that.
their dice, like, they don't even weigh, like, I don't know how much they do weigh, but I know that they definitely don't weigh a pound each, so, like, it's okay, my safety is fine, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I saw a comment the other day on one of the parts where somebody was like, it's a Nuzlocke, but it's also just a podcast. I was like, that's not inaccurate.
That's not really inaccurate at all.
Well, because, like, there's not much to do, not much to talk about in terms of the actual gameplay, because the gameplay in this game is so fast. It's like, bang, 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 cards, watch animation, blah. The only time that, like, there's a lot to talk about in terms of the actual gameplay is, like, when it comes to, when we get close to somebody dying, or, like, a boss fight. And then, outside of that, it's just, okay, let's count how many times Haven drops her dice.
That's really all it is. Or let's talk about potatoes or shoes for about 10 minutes.
Dude, you ever, like, say something really stupid and you're like, wow, why did I even talk about that? That's me at telling the shoes story.
I don't know what you're talking.
Calm down, he's level 30.
I'm still picking on these.
Calm down, he's level 30!
I'm playing with my brains!
Daddy!
I love Siegfried so much, he's Siegfried!
Alright, fine. I'm just gonna point out, it was my fucking turn to roll.
You don't roll when it's the story support.
Oh, right, it's story support! Ah,
yeah, you just
right.
pick one if that's the case.
Sorry, no, I thought that was one of the other ones. I forgot that, Siegfried is ever a story support.
Yeah, Siegfried's a story support in this. Oh, I didn't.
See, that's why I was like, calm down. He's only level 30. It was like I thought that you were grabbing a friend support. Like, Danny, what are you doing?
Why did I not put him in the front row? This was not a good decision.
No, this was not a good decision. You are correct. But yeah, I've been wanting to make a few fate based videos. This is going back to something I talked about in the last part where I was like, I'd like to go back to, I'd like to make a few videos talking about, like, the actual historical figures, because, like, obviously these are more fictionalized and, like, not fully historicized for the sake of entertainment purposes. So it's not like, oh my god, they did them wrong! But it'd be interesting to compare, like, what the Fate version of a lot of these characters are to what their actual, like, origins were.
I think one of the most interesting cases there is just all the ways in which the King Arthur story has been tweaked.
Yeah.
Because King Arthur is a very interesting mythos, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, same.
Yeah, one thing I learned recently, I was looking up just the origin of the name Arendite, which in Fate is Lancelot's sword. And it's because the thing is, Arendite is never brought up once in the entire Le Morte Arthur. Like, it's not in there at all. That name, like, Lancelot's sword, I don't even think has a name in there. David, I don't know if you're knowledgeable about that specific thing or not.
Sorry, in terms of which canon?
The Morte Arthur, like the Death of Arthur thing.
There's so many sources. Like, I admittedly don't study medieval literature. I have studied it, like, in a couple classes, but it's not my specialty. But I think that and this is totally, like, I might be wrong, but I think that it does.
Because the thing is, from what I've seen, people have told me, not told me specifically, but like, people have said online that either Lancelot's sword was not given a name in it, or that its name was definitely not Arendite and that stuff.
Yeah, I don't think so.
What I read is that it apparently comes from this other obscure, maybe not obscure, I don't know, this other legend about a character who is not even in Arthurian mythology, but it's because that person has a sword called Arendite, and it is described as the Sword of Lancelot. And apparently that's where the name Arendite comes from, and people in future versions of the mythos went back and retroactively included that in Arthur stuff.
I think that's fascinating and would love to look into that.
Yeah, I'll if I can find the actual name of the myth I'm talking about, then I will go and add it into the video, because I think it's a really cool concept, just that this thing got added in because people were talking about the legends in post in other legends, and then people went back and incorporated them in new versions of the old one.
Oh god, that's me dropping all of my dice. Apologies if you hear me typing, because now I'm gonna go to my school library's website and see if I can look this up. Because I, as much as possible, try and go for academic sources. Because then you get the people that have been looking into it, like, for decades.
Now, there were other things that said, like, oh, god damn it, I don't want to play Pokemon right now.
Don't you, though?
I mean, I kind of do, but I need to get this done. I need videos. Like, I need to record at least 2 parts so that next week I'm not, like, out of things to record. Here's the thing. Normally we record these way in advance. This is the closest to these being uploaded we've ever recorded parts.
Yeah, aside from the first one.
Yeah. Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. There were a couple of things I saw in that same post that I saw the thing about Arendite in, where people said that Lancelot's sword had also been Joyeux at some point in time. That people said that was his sword. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Is that French?
There's an X somewhere in there. But the thing is that, like, that wasn't universally recognized to be his sword, and that's not a popular idea that caught on. And then another Yahoo answer was like, I think they just made it up in Sonic and the Black Knight. And I'm like, no, it's not where it came from. Go away. Like, that's where I first heard the name, too. Doesn't mean that's where it originally came from.
Oh, is this officially not useful? I think this is officially not useful. Okay, yeah, that source was terrible. Cool!
Yo, adding to that, Sonic and the Black Knight.
Yo, I loved that because I was a child when it came out, and I thought it was great.
Oh no, unironically, I adore that game. Like, I
love the designs. I really love the designs.
I'm in the minority of people who actually super enjoys that game. Even if it's broken and half of its mechanics barely work, I still love it. I can't ever hate it. Because I grew up with Sonic games, and when I was a kid, if a game was Sonic, even if it sucked, I'd still play it. Like, I still beat Secret Rings and Shadow the... Oh, I didn't have Shadow the Hedgehog long enough because my copy broke before I got a chance to beat it. But I still tried to beat as many Sonic games as I could because I just loved Sonic when I was a kid. And the only one I never managed to beat besides Shadow, because that was obnoxiously long, is 06. And that's because I bought that game around the time that I was growing out of Sonic. So that's really the only reason. And then I sold it, so I don't even have it anymore. But
not once in my life have I grown out of Sonic. Like, I don't go crazy for it in the ways that I used to, but I still really, really enjoy Sonic content.
Well,
yeah.
I think growing out of it might have been the wrong choice of words there. I mean, like, I've always loved Sonic, but, like, I stopped paying attention to it a little bit at a certain point in my life.
Yeah, I mean, like, same, but that's just because the content went on a decline.
Why was the movie so good?
I'm also realizing that I am so used to being in school that I'm able to still do this and also read an academic paper trying to find stuff on Lancelot's sword. And that, folks, is how much of a friggin' nerd I am when it comes to literary things. Is like, I fucking love legends. I if I had to do school again, there are two things that I would go in for that is not what I'm graduating with. And that would either be medieval and Renaissance studies, which would be like King Arthur stuff, because I did take a couple classes with that stuff and it was so fucking cool. Ironically, not ironically, it's not very ironic, but I happened to fail that class only because I went to the exam the day after the exam. I forgot to go not forgot to, I just wrote down the day of the exam wrong, and then my prof failed me with a 48, and I was like, okay, no, that's fine, that's fair, I'm a fucking idiot. Would have done really well in that class if I didn't miss 40% of my grade.
Yeah, that would have been really great.
I saw how much that exam was worth. I was like, well, I'm fucked.
Okay, for some reason, I don't think that Chrome saved my history from it far back enough to check and go back and find this. Oh, wait, it may have. I'm gonna keep playing the game while I do this so that I don't stagnate the footage.
Please do.
Let's see, because this was before that happened. Was it in Reddit that I found this? No, it was not. Hi, bud. What's up, man? How you doing? Bam, 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 bam. I'm still looking for this because I want to find this. I want to find this post I've seen. Maybe if I just scroll way down to like back in February and then search it again, it'll bring it up. Because I think this was after I had gotten. This was after I had already gotten my shiny Doublade. And I'm seeing tabs I brought up during my shiny hunt. So let me try this again. Nope. Okay. Yahoo. Nope. Screw it, I'm just gonna search the same thing again.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to find the thing from what Lancelot's sword was called. What was Lancelot's sword called? Okay, let's see. I should have had a tab from something else open from a while ago. Like, I should have been able to find it. Oh, wait. Erendite. If I look up specifically Erendite. Why is the Sword of Sir Lancelot called Erendite? Okay, it's on Quora. That's why I couldn't find it, because I wasn't searching that. Okay, so this is not from like a scholarly source, so keep that in mind.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, but this answer says that the name Erendite first appears in a Middle English romance, Sir Bevis of Hampton, where Sir Guy of Warwick wields it. A sword he took of mickle might that was eclipsed Arendite. I think that's what it's... No, I don't know what that word is before Arendite. I can't read that. It was Lancelot du Lake's... what? Therewith he slew the fire drake. So... And then it was compared to Joyu, Colada, and Durandal and Erendite. Durandal and Excalibur, so that's the...
Okay.
So yeah, apparently, according to this Quora answer that I'm not fact-checking because I don't want to, apparently, this name comes from, Sir Bevis of Hampton.
Okay, so, using a scholarly research website, now I have to try a few different ways of spelling Erendite, but
the way it is spelled in this is AroundIGHT.
Sorry, A-R.
O-U.
O-U.
N-D-I-G-H-T.
Okay. Now, usually it will also search for other versions. But, so fun fact, the way that I'm searching this, I can search any English text that has been registered with this site from current time back to the year 1000. And I am seeing, even with variant spellings, only about, I want to say close to maybe, and this is overestimated, 20 accounts of the term being used in these sources. And this can include anything from academic papers to old versions of the original stories.
Which doesn't surprise me, because I think the popularization of the term Arendite is more of a modern thing than it is anything else.
Which it seems to be true, yeah. So there you go, folks. We're going through some... yeah, I'm trying a number of different spellings. Just to be sure. And 2 different variants does not have any results. Arendite without the U comes up more than Arendite with the U. There's only one source that I'm really finding, and it's from 2003, which I would say isn't... sorry. Correction, it's from the 1800s. Reprinted in 2003. Which, like, maybe not be as relevant to something that would have happened 1,200 years before that.
Yeah! See,
so, hey, maybe eventually I'll look into more of this and we can talk about more of this, but that's our side tangent for today. The little background research on fate shit.
Or if you want to look at it that way, Sonic and the Black Knight, because that was my first
Sonic and the
exposure to
Black
that name.
Knight shit. Yeah. My first exposure to the term Arendite comes from Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn / Radiant Path of Radiance, because that's the sword that the Black Knight has.
Oh, this is not good.
Don't die! Don't die! I'm seeing that low health there. Don't die!
I don't intend to.
Don't do it.
Now, here's the question: do I command seal her HP? Because I did say that was allowed.
Yeah, we can command steal HP, but not. Oh, you're doing it. You're just doing it. Okay.
I'm just doing it.
You can command steal HP, but not revives. Correct?
Yes, you can command steal HP and NP, but you cannot use 3 to revive. The way you command seal has to be exclusively just as a one-off thing. Okay, see? If that crit hit Medusa, that would have killed.
She would be dead!
And the thing is, we don't even know if that was going to be aimed at her, because RNG changes that every time you use a skill. So it could very well have been aimed at her.
Sorry, I'm still hung up on the fact that so few search results came from that that search that I just did. Because usually, even if I look up a single word, it will come up with hundreds of responses. I've never seen so few responses on that search before.
Yeah, it really
That fascinates me.
It really seems to be such a modern idea. Because, like, again, my first exposure to it was Black Knight, but, like, I think it's in the World of Warcraft lore, too, or something like that. I know it's definitely not exclusively in those fields. I know it's actually a relatively popular sword name to give at this point. Which is weird, because I've heard the name Joyeux way more times than I've heard Arendite.
Is that French?
It is, yes.
Okay.
There are a lot of French names, because Galatine's a French name, too.
Yeah, and like the entire, there's not the entire, but there's a very large portion of Arthurian legend that was written in French.
Like because Percival's name is also Parzival, right? And that's French?
Yeah, I think so. I might be wrong.
I could be
I've
wrong,
heard
too.
I've heard it pronounced Percival as if it was French. But the person that I heard that from might have just been saying it wrong.
Yeah, that's totally true. A lot of the names of Knights of the Round Table tend to get mispronounced quite a lot. But then at the same time, it's such an old mythology that at this point some of the mispronunciations have just straight up become part of the lore.
Yeah, and like names like Tristan. His name was not Tristan. His name was Tristram.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's just how the names changed, but it's modernized to be what we would use as a name now. We don't use the name Tristram anymore.
Yeah,
by the way, frickin' God, I can't read through Tristram Shandy. Ugh.
And
Anyways.
and one particular thing is that like everyone talks about the idea that like, oh, Morgan Le Fay had Arthur's child, but in the original lore that wasn't it at all. It was Morgause. Like it was Morgause that had let's see, I think it was it was Morgause that had Mordred, and Mordred wasn't originally Arthur's son, I don't think. Or was it?
I've not heard otherwise before.
No, I know what it was. I messed it up. Okay, I think I could be wrong because I'm definitely not an expert. I think what it actually is that Morgause was Arthur's sister, but Morgan Le Fay was an entirely different character. And Mordred was the son of Morgan Le Fay and Arthur, but not his sister Morgause. And then eventually they just got sort of fused into one character in the lore, in a lot more modern versions of it.
That sounds so complicated and also very fascinating. God, I love literature.
I love King Arthur shit. It's so
good. Well, what I find fascinating is like the origins of King Arthur, which, I mean, when I first met you, I'm not sure how much you remember, there is this one point where I went on a whole tangent trying to find the origins of King Arthur. And was going through numbers of academic papers, and I was like sending you them. I'm not sure if you remember this.
I think I do remember this, actually.
And I discovered the earliest recollection that there is in any form of written history, and I read through it, and it was kind of difficult to read because the way that they wrote back then was not the way that we write now. And, well, also, like, that would have been Old English, and it got translated to modern English, and so there was, like, translation errors and whatnot. And anyways, so, or it would have been Latin, I guess. Yeah, and just this whole person had, like, translated it, and, like, the story of Arthur was actually that he wasn't a king. He was a knight himself who fought in a war, was given a castle after the war because he was basically a great war hero, and was given a castle, and then from there became King Arthur, and then all of the legends came out after that about him, and him being like this great knight and king because he was, and like, yeah, there's just like so few mentions of him, but it suggests that, like, yeah, King Arthur, like, could have actually been real, but just not in the ways that our lore is, obviously.
Hell no, yeah. Like, that's
but
different story.
But that's, I mean, the same thing's true with, like, Beowulf and shit. Like, Beowulf didn't fight a goddamn dragon.
If he did, I'd like to see bones, but yeah. I think that, I think one of the most interesting concepts when it comes to lore like that in general is just the different ways in which those become, like, culturally relevant.
Legends are fascinating!
Dude, I fucking love it. That's why I like Fate, because the entire hook of Fate is just that it takes, like, mythological characters and puts them in new scenarios where you can reuse old characters that both have familiarity on their side, but can be new.
Yeah, and I in the last part of our playthrough, I was talking about Mephistopheles and Mephistopheles' origin and why it kind of miffs me in this. But that's not to say that, like, I still find it super cool that Mephistopheles is even in this, and like these figures from legend, be it real or fictional, are in this game. And I have a whole team of these kinds of guys, and I love that I have this whole team of them. Like, I've got a whole party worth of these figures that, like, I read in class. Hohenheim, we just talked about in class on Friday, 2 days after I had pulled him in Fate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Hohenheim I actually have a story relating to specifically because, Haven, I didn't know you back then, but I did do once a Fate D&D, back before I had any fucking idea what I was doing with my system.
So cool.
I had Hohenheim as one of the writers. Not writers, casters. He was the caster, I mean. And I didn't even know about Hohenheim from Fate Grand Order yet, because I don't even think the game was out in America back then. But I just remembered Hohenheim from Full Metal Alchemist, and that I remembered stuff I'd heard about him, in, like, actual, like, you know, essays and like, videos and YouTube and whatnot. And I thought it was really cool. We got that dragon's wing is clipping through his friend's head. But yeah, no, I thought it was really fucking cool when I saw Paracelsus von Hohenheim for the first time in, like, actual Fate. Because I thought it was dope that we got another figure like that. I'm just gonna do a change.
Well, do you remember when I first was like, this was months ago, and it was mostly as a joke where I was talking, I was like, where the fuck is Shakespeare in this? And none of the other writers from that time is in this. It was like, Christopher Marlowe, who wrote Dr. Faustus, would be so much fucking cooler. And I started going through all of the list of, like, people that I had read in my classes and whatnot. I was like, these guys would be so freaking cool to have as big characters. And like, Beowulf would be cool. You're like, oh, Beowulf's in Fate Go. I was like, good!
Yeah! And I didn't mention at the time that Mephistopheles was in it because I didn't think it important enough to mention, but...
Well, which is hilarious because... Again, Marlowe, who I mentioned, wrote Faustus.
I know, like, you brought it up! You brought it up! And
Mephistopheles is a cool idea to have in it, but also it's such a different version of Mephistopheles than the Marlowe version would have been.
Mm-hmm. Also, this is going to be the last quest we do before we take a break.
Welcome to this part featuring us nerding the heck out.
Yeah! Oh, you want to know what one of my favorite discoveries of actually researching Arthurian lore was? Lancelot the self-insert OC.
What?
So Lancelot was not in a lot of the early versions of King Arthur lore.
Oh.
He was added in his own
Story.
Subsequent versions, yeah. And basically he was written to be that one guy who's cool, and he's cooler than everybody else, including King Arthur. And he can even cheat on King Arthur with King Arthur's wife, but it's okay because Lancelot's doing it, and that means it's great. And there was this whole, like, there's so much to unpack. But Lancelot's original creation was as basically an original character Do Not Steal. And it's kind of hilarious, but that is one of the discoveries I made looking into Fate, looking into non-Fate lore when it came to characters I didn't know much about. And I think one of the best videos for learning about characters like that is Overly Sarcastic Productions video, because they did one on the Knights of the Round Table in general. Avon?
Ah!
There you are. Jesus, man.
Face
No!
What?
It stopped the recording!
It probably stopped at the very end.
It stopped because the call disconnected.
Yeah, that's fine. That's a fine place for it to have.
No, it's not! We didn't do an intro!
No, we can fix that. That's not hard to fix.
Okay, let's go back in right now. Let me... God damn it. This
That's not hard to fix.
No, but it's annoying because we didn't do a visual sync, so now I have to figure out on my own where that stuff is!
Yeah, that does suck.
Ah!
So, let's do a visual sync at the beginning.
Okay, I just started recording. Tap, 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 tap. There we go. Now I know where the visual sync is. Haven, audio sync, clap sync. Let's go. Ready?
Ready!
3, 2, 1. Ow!
Was that your arm?
I didn't think that through.
Yeah. I didn't think of thinking that through.
Yeah, so for context, everybody, Facebook call disconnected. Haven, was that because you hung up after I started talking about how Lancelot's
No,
an original
it just cut off.
Okay, in the middle of me talking about how Lancelot is an original character, do not steal, the Facebook call just cut off, and then the recording stopped because I got the screen on my phone that Haven was calling me back, and fucking... we did a clap sync just now, so our audio was synced up, and I forgot that I have sprained my arm.
I can't see the screen, by the way.
It's because I haven't shared it yet.
Oh.
You see my webcam footage right now, probably.
Yeah, I sure do. Just the top of your head.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, we don't use Discord because, Discord explodes on me often.
Okay, Haven, do you see the things properly again now?
I do. In fact, I see it better than I did before.
Okay, cool. Maybe your connection just got better out of nowhere.
Yeah, maybe that was my connections just suddenly being like, no, I quit! And then being like, okay, now we're fixed. Now everything's better.
Yeah. Okay, fucking... Yeah, Lancelot is an original character, do not steal. Overly Sarcastic Productions is a really good video on King Arthur, and I think they have a separate one on his knights in general. But yeah, no, I fucking love that channel, and I learn a lot by watching their videos. You should go subscribe. Yeah. Those were all smacks on my leg and not my hand because I was not going to make that same mistake twice.
Good choice.
Battle 4 or 5. Okay.
I always get thrown off whenever there's more than 3 battles because I'm just so used to there being 3 battles.
In fairness, it doesn't happen a lot.
No, it really doesn't, which is why I get so thrown off.
Mm-hmm.
Siegfried's sword is so nice and big.
Yeah, it is. That's... okay. That's... Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I guess I'm the English major. I should have realized what a phallic object is.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you either way, but you know, that's fine, whatever.
I don't agree with me either way!
Oh. I didn't realize we have to fight Atalanta right now.
It's fine.
That's,
No, it's fine. She only has 38,000. You're good. You can do this.
That's a lot of HP, though.
Nah, it's fine. Dogpile. You got this. Oh my god, everybody has a resist.
Yeah, because I have 2 sabers, and she's an archer, and archers are strong against sabers.
Everybody has a resist.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
It's vaguely possible that we might be in a tad itty-bitty bit of trouble. Yeah. Vaguely possible. Not clear. Though possible and maybe likely.
I always like when you're very concise about exactly how much trouble we're in, because it helps me to understand what the fuck I'm supposed to do with my life.
Yeah, just, it's possible, and, vaguely likely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we got rid of the dragons pretty easily, so, those aren't going to be a problem.
Alright, so that's less damage output on us.
But she finishes her NP charge in 3 turns, and she just got 2 critical ups. I'm very scared.
That's fine, kill her before 3 turns!
I can't do-
Yes, you can!
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna try this. Mystic Eyes. Hey, it actually worked!
Look at that! See, kill her in 3 turns. What's the problem?
There's many problems
Get
with that
that
idea.
Nards, please, for the love of God.
I'm sorry, what?
I can't tell if you are going. Please use the arts card.
Yeah, I was going to. I went to the Buster. I went to the Buster by instinct, but I immediately changed it over.
Yeah, I saw the Buster at first. I was like, we are so close to full on that NP.
Yeah. Let's see. I can go ahead and Fleur de Lis, Balmung, and that follow it up with a Buster from Medusa. I can't wait for Siegfried to get his animation update. That's happening soon, and I'm gonna be so happy when it does.
I was so thrown off when I first saw the summer Nero Noble Phantasm, because it's full 3D. What the fuck?
Yeah. So is Scotty's for the record, but. Okay, see, it's fine if Siegfried dies here because it's in the rules that we can reuse a story support if we lose them. But here's my concern. We're either losing Medusa or we're losing Dion here.
No, we can do this. It's fine. We do still have an evade.
Oh, but who do I save?
Wait, does Atalantes hit multiple people?
Yes! It hits the entire field!
You gotta save Dion. You gotta save Dion.
Okay, and you know what? Dion's in less danger anyway. Oh, no, excuse me. Medusa's in less danger anyway, but just to be safe. I'm so scared. I really don't want to lose anybody right now. Medusa, please. Medusa, please don't lose to another Greek.
We're just trying to live here.
Hey, but I'm gonna take off my headphones real quick.
Yeah, that's fine. I think the most appropriate thing out of all of that was that I was saved the pain of watching Medusa die because my screen lagged at that exact moment, and the next thing I saw, MASH was on screen and Medusa was not. Really quick, can I get everybody please to have a short, brief moment of silence as we honor our fallen servants and also Danny. And now we resume our previous battle of killing that bitch!
You know what? 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 Do you know what?
Hey Danny, what?
I have never more desperately in my life wanted to murder Atalanta with the passion of 1,000 suns. I normally like Atalanta. This made me. No!
It would have been even more tragic if you just got a bond level up with Medusa.
No!
But you didn't. Instead, she's dead. And she's gone.
Go away! Go away! Go away!
Now you have to burn her card. And say your final goodbyes.
Do I have to do that, though?
You have to.
But...
There's a whole point in the stages of grief, and one of them is acceptance, in which you must accept letting Medusa go. You've got to do it.
I don't know.
Sometimes it really do be like that sometimes. Yep. Just let it out. Yeah. How can I help? Danny? Oh god damn it! No! 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 Stop! Stop! Fuck off. I'm fucking leaving.
Thank you guys for watching.